as slaves of God and of Christ, as children of God, as beloved of God, who walk in truth and light, who participate in the deeds of the light and no longer in the deeds of darkness, we are those who represent truth and light. Now I have a simple question. What is Halloween? What is Halloween? Well, I'm not necessarily going to talk about its history. If you want to know the history of Halloween, we have 4 other messages on our website that you can listen to. I want to talk about how it's presented today. This is the same way it's been presented all my life, all my short 44 years. This is the way it's presented. You walk into Walmart or Target, just about any store, you're hit with this. I go down the road to Publix, go down there to get me something, and they have a huge display that if you want to get certain items, you have to walk through this display, and it's like a haunted house. You go to gas stations, and you've got that placard everywhere. You go to theme parks. I looked up on the web just to see what the theme parks were offering, and every single theme park I looked at had some kind of thing going on for Halloween, and usually called it spooktacular. In fact, I've got an ad from CompUSA in my email box yesterday, and it said some spooktacular sales. Everybody's taking advantage of this, and I know that people are seeking to take great advantage of this for revenue. And of course, people are buying it. People will manufacture it so they can make the money. Halloween itself will bring approximately $3.3 billion this year. $3.3 billion. It's a lot of money. Well, let me give you some ideas of how I would define Halloween as depicted in, first of all, the costumes, secondly, in the movies, third, in the culture. First of all, in the costumes, if you walk into Walmart, in fact, I went to Walmart's website, and it was not hard to find this information. I saw costumes separated by the age of people. You had costumes for little boys, which were made up of skulls or Frankenstein or Harry Potter, or you even had a skeleton look, but there was blood all over it, or you had a skull which had blood all over it. That's what was presented for little boys. Now, obviously, there's other things there that are not like this, but these things are there. And the same for little girls dressed up as witches and women vampires, though I've never heard of that, but they had it, and they also had dressing them up as the devil. I wouldn't want to dress my kid up as a devil. I wouldn't want to dress my kid up anyway, you know what I mean? And then they even had costumes for men, adult men, like wolves and monsters and also the devil. They had women dressed up as a ghost bride. Again, these are things. I remember some years back, you remember the O.J. Simpson trials, which now he's in hot water again. But during the O.J. Simpson trials, they came out with a football jersey splattered in blood. His football jersey splattered in blood. That was the costume. Or you had like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What are these costumes depicting? Death. It amazes me that people want to celebrate death. Again, I worked for a funeral home. I could get anybody to talk about death. Last thing they wanted to talk about. But on October the 31st is something we poke at, we make fun of. We ride through our neighborhoods. There's one lady that really goes all out with her house. I think she repaints her shutters for every holiday. I asked my daughters that. I said, it just seems like that every time you go by, everything is decorated a different color. Easter, she has eggs hanging from the trees. But Halloween, she's got all this stuff all over the yard depicting death. Again, more and more people are getting involved in this. I mean, even think about the movies. Very famous movie, Halloween, has 4 parts. Or Halloween Resurrection, or Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. There's another one called Chris Angel, Mind Freak Halloween. And these were not any kiddie shows, folks. This was murder. This was celebrating murder. And so I ask you, what is Halloween as depicted by costumes? What's this depicted by movies? What is it a celebration of? Death. How about the culture? Again, every department store that you enter, you see signs about Halloween. Every place that you go, riding down the road again, you see these things. And I usually have this one simple question when I see this. What do the families think who have loved ones who have been murdered? What do you think they think during this time? Never got to ask that question of anybody. Not looking to ask that question, but I can only imagine what they're thinking. It was in the news just yesterday about that one girl who appeared on American Idol, and she played in that one famous movie. I can't even remember the name of it now. Something Girls. Dream Girls. And her mother and I think grandson was murdered. Mother and brother? Yeah, mother and brother. How do you think they feel right now? Halloween is a celebration of death. There's no other way you can put it. You say, well, I'm just having fun with my children. But you can't ignore all this other stuff. Right? Here is a person that I came across on the internet who's now a believer. Says that he was a former witch high priest, now saved by Jesus. He says he used to be astonished by how many Christians let their kids celebrate Halloween. Some churches even sponsor haunted houses and similar events on what is the number one satanic holiday of the year. That's what he calls it, a holiday. And what did we just read? We're children of light, not of darkness. He goes on to say in Ephesians 5:11, we're not to participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead expose them. And when he means participate, it means to join in fellowship, to have a joint participation. And when he talks about exposing, he means to reprove or rebuke. What's our resource for exposure? Scripture. Scripture is light. Scripture is profitable for teaching and reproof and correction and training in righteousness. In other words, we should be proclaiming the gospel. That's what we should be proclaiming. So I don't know what your plans are for October the 31st. I would hope that they would be evangelistic. But as I started out with a disclaimer, you need to come to the Scriptures. You need to look at what they say, and you need to build your conviction right there. I have personal convictions about this, but you need to have them too. I don't want you just to adopt mine. I have reasons why I have these convictions, and I shared them many this morning, but I've also shared them in so many messages that we have on our website that you can listen to. And you hear them week after week. And yes, sometimes when you take stands, you stand alone. Sometimes your family may turn on you. But folks, don't compromise. You know, you need to inform your conscience and then listen to your conscience.